Now I like to invite our Imtiaz Ilahi, the Managing Director of Graphic People Limited.
Good morning, everybody. Today we had a plan to do a joint presentation together with Sami Ahmed. So first part of my presentation is, sorry I could not take you through, it was supposed to be done by Sami Ahmed. So he was supposed to focus on the government initiatives and every steps that is taken by his ministry. So I'll go straight to the business perspective, like as a company, what challenges we are facing and how we feel that some areas where government should focus and allow companies who are in the export market to grow beyond their current state. I'll start with a little overview of what we are doing today. So basically we are an offshore studio. We call it production services, which includes web development, basically software development and print production services. This is something we started 12 years back with a small print production studio with 5 people. And over time, as the industry evolved, become more dependent on technology, more dependent on digital, we have transformed into a digital service-driven company. And we are currently having more than 250 people, mainly web developers. We work on a number of CMSs, number of technology services for a lot of companies and brands around the world. Some of the key verticals, we have a lot of services going out under digital production, that mainly website builds. That also includes email banners, landing pages, but mainly large global websites. For an example, if you have one product website that needs to roll out in 70 different markets, in 20 different languages, using a very large CMS in the back end, projects like these are something where we pursue. We have very strong teams with technology certifications like Aqua, Drupal, like Viva, like .NET, which helps us to engage with large global clients and provide large digital services. We still are very strong in print production. This is something that we started 10 years back. We are a Microsoft Gold Certified Development Center, and also we do a lot of production support services like marketing automation services, and also people who manages this marketing automation on behalf of our clients. So today we are a 24/7 operation. We run round the clock. We work with 15 plus global agencies across 65 different markets. We service clients across 10 different time zones. Clients are located from Sydney in Australia to all the way to Seattle in US. So you can understand we have almost 14 plus hours of time difference. In a year, we receive more than 30,000 job requests, and we deliver more than 100,000 units of production. That can be web pages, banners, etc. So these are some of the clients we are working today. Like Dell is one of our largest clients. So we have got Microsoft. We work a lot with Nestle, Pfizer, GSK, HSBC Bank, etc. These are mainly coming to us through our partner companies. So that is something very important to keep in mind, that today where we are today is not because we were alone out there competing, but we were able to partner up with large companies who have access to these large brands. Because as a Bangladeshi company, it's very difficult to go and even be called in to submit our proposal for different RFPs. So I think it's very important to find a strong global partner to take you along. So I've done a very simple SWOT matrix just to give you what our challenges, strengths, challenges, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are. Sorry, I don't think it's very clearly visible in the slide. So to go into strengths, we've identified 4 areas. I think strong client credentials, our track record in last 10 years. We have invested heavily on the state-of-the-art infrastructure. We use all licensed softwares. We use a lot of services. Like we do data backup in a lot of multiple locations. We have redundancy in terms of our internet, in terms of our data. So I think these are very important when you are participating in a large pitch. These audits are important. We are lucky to have a low employee turnover, which also allows us to maintain the quality. And cost advantage, as for us being in Bangladesh, gives us a very good cost advantage over a lot of competitors. Especially, we compete a lot with Indian companies and also companies coming out of Philippines when it comes to web and print production support services. Weaknesses, I think it's very difficult to scale up, as Martin has mentioned, though we say we have thousands of people coming in, but when you give out a job ad, it takes more than 3-4 months to even find 4 good developers who we can onboard. I think that's a very concerning area. So even after reaching 250, it's getting very difficult to add another 50, even in last 6 months, because we are not able to find right kind of people. Lack of certified resources, because when you're working in large projects, I think some of the prerequisites are you need to have certified resources. It can be in Java, it can be in Drupal, it can be in any particular technology. I think that is something we are lacking. We focus a lot in the grassroots level, building up freshers, but then they kind of lose track, and there is no structured way where they can progress, they can get certified and contribute more. Another weakness is access to market. This is also something Martin has focused upon, that though we participate in a lot of fairs, but due to lack of on-site presence is also a reason why we are not getting large businesses or having regular businesses. I think we need to look into that. This is something where we feel that government can step in, and we can look into a modality how companies can contribute and have joint office spaces, etc., in markets of interest. Opportunities, definitely PR and brand awareness today is much higher than a few years back. There's a lot of investment from the private and the government side on building the Bangladesh as an outsourcing destination, doing a lot of PR, but I think there has to be a consolidated approach because we don't have a very strong sort of we are not an attractive location where people would easily travel to. I think location is one of also our biggest weaknesses. Whenever we say that we are in Dhaka in Bangladesh, I mean, people find it very difficult for us to locate, and then they don't feel very excited to travel, versus they want to go to Delhi, or they want to go to Bangalore, or they want to go to Prague, or any other offshoring destination. So I think location is one of the biggest areas of, it drags us back a lot when we go out and pitch to different clients. We need to do a lot of more PR and branding to bring this awareness that this can be a place where people can travel to. And for us, I think opportunity lies in digital center of excellence. I mean, this is very specific to our company, that web development is something which is really has taken off. I think there's a lot of things that we can do here, not only for a company like of our size, but for any company which is stepping into it. But we have to keep in mind that what technology we are pursuing and what type of services that we want to provide using that. And when we come to threats, I think rising cost of business is one of our key concerns, which we feel that will become a big hurdle when we want to remain competitive. We also have to keep in mind the change scenario in the outsourcing market with India facing hurdle with the new H1 visa policy coming up in US, which might prevent a lot of Indians going to US and working on behalf of their company. So there will be redundancy in India, prices will drop. I think we have to keep these concerns in mind, that today we have around 20-25% cost advantage against an Indian company, so we need to maintain that. And with new world order, there will be a lot of times where we will be subject to tremendous pressure on the pricing, and we have to keep in mind that rising cost of business has to be kept under control. Another threat that we feel as a company is that we have to depend heavily on external partners. So we need to work on our own go-to-market strategy and reduce this dependency. One thing I just want to highlight is when I talked about rising cost of business, I want to show where our maximum cost lies. We have taken our operational costs and split it into different heads. The biggest cost is the staff cost, which is around 70%. I think this is a significant challenge compared to other local industries where they have other infrastructure costs, which is more than the staff cost. But I think our staff cost is very high due to lack of trained resources and also lack of resources who are coming into the industry as a whole. Most of these staffs we are finding very difficult to retain for a long period of time because they would definitely pursue the highest possible package for them in the market and move. So we are also finding it difficult to replace them. Another big chunk of cost goes to office rent and other utilities. So office space rent is extremely high in Dhaka. When we can definitely talk about where you are locating your office, but we want to locate our office in a place which is secure, away from obstacles like political unrest and everything. So you have to put it in a place where definitely cost will be higher. And if you want to run an operation which you want to use to impress your clients, you definitely have to go to a location where it is, which will be slightly more expensive. But again, then retaining this position or this location in the long run is becoming a problem due to continuous, increase in cost. So, two recommendations to the government. One is that we definitely need space or some sort of subsidy maybe in terms of rent of office space. And when it comes to human resource, we can very well look into areas where we can reduce this cost. Maybe, it can be in forms of exemption of income tax on human resource who are working on the IT, or it can be any other form of incentive, like the one which government is currently considering, like cash incentive on the volume of export, can help entrepreneurs and businesses to remain competitive. A few other recommendations, when we talk about our presence in international market, I think shared sales marketing offices in major markets can be very helpful. It can be contributory use. Companies who want to use it can pay X amount of money and can be subsidized, rest can be subsidized by the government. Definitely having access to sales consultants. A lot of big pitches are managed or kind of driven by the sales consultants, especially in US, and very strong matchmaking services in the focus or major markets. And others are very common ones, like we've been talking about it for many years now. Affordable infrastructure for IT support. We need very clear clarification on VAT on essential software licenses. There's been a lot of discussion recently where we are asked by the banks to pay VAT on a lot of softwares which we are using to deliver our export services. So we need to look into that. We want to remain competitive, and this is an area where we want a very clear direction that what is exempted from VAT and which is not. Ease of international transfer of funds. This is one of the key areas where which is also an hurdle where people are not bringing in their sales revenue back into Bangladesh. We need to look into that. So it's much more easier for us to transfer funds, and which will also have a positive impact on the growth of business. And rest are like process simplification, taxation, exemptions, and definitely investment in management and upscaling of training programs. There's a lot of focus today on the grassroots level, but I think equal amount of focus should be given on mid and higher level training and certified resources. So, I mean, these are some of the recommendations that I have from the business perspective. And if you have any question, we can probably take it afterwards. Thank you.